Assalamualaikum everyone. In this video, we, the new lines of accounts executive of IHH Healthcare Berhad, will be talking about segmental reporting and interim report of this company. Before that, let us introduce ourselves. So, in this video, we have two parts, which are Part A and Part B. So, we start with the Part A.
Today, I'm going to present the company background of IHH Healthcare Berhad. As you can see here, the company was founded at 1974 in Kuala Lumpur. It also has three subsidiaries of company, which is Parkway Pantai, Fortis Healthcare, and Integrated Healthcare. Besides that, it be a leading brand of Acibadem, Mount Elizabeth, Prince Court, Pantai, IMU, Fortis, and Parkway. The company was also expand to the 10 countries, which is Singapore, Turkey, India, and China. It also have 80 hospitals, 15,000 of licensed beds, and 65,000 of dedicated employees. Next, we've moved to the mission, vision, purpose, and value. The mission is to take exemplary care of the patient, anchor around the people who strive to continuously raise the bar in clinical operational and service excellence. The purpose is touching life and transforming care. The vision is to be the world's most trusted healthcare in the world. The values comes in 5, which is passion first, integrity, empathy, teamwork, and excellence.
There are 4 factors to be considered having a segment reporting. First, nature of the product or service. IHH Healthcare Berhad is an investment holding company which engages in the provision of healthcare service. They provide a full spectrum of integrated healthcare service no matter what kind of care their patients need. The company also operates hospitals as well as medical centers, clinics, and ancillary healthcare businesses across multiple countries including Malaysia, Singapore, Turkey, India, and China. Second, nature of the production processes. As a healthcare service network, the patients' needs are a priority for them. Due to that, they provide quality and exemplary care for their customers such as primary care, secondary and tertiary care, quaternary care, complementary ancillary service, and they also offer medical education. Primary care refers to access to basic day-to-day healthcare service, while for secondary care comprise specialist consultations, local surgeries, emergency care, laboratory service, and others. Quaternary care is an advanced level of medical care that involves high-intensity complex surgeries. Their suite of complementary ancillary service includes comprehensive diagnostic, analytical laboratory testing, therapeutic radiology, and so on. Not only that, IHH Healthcare Berhad also offer medical education to train and develop nurses, doctors, and healthcare sector professionals. Third, type or class of customer for the product or service. For IHH Healthcare Berhad, the type or class of customers are based on their income level, which is for those who have medium until high income. Since this company is not entirely under the government, so the price offered for each service is slightly different compared with government hospitals. And the last one is method used to distribute the product or provide the service. How this company distributes their products or service is by establishing several hospitals. Hospital Pantai in Kuala Lumpur is one of their hospitals. Other than that, they also build a medical center, clinics, and ancillary healthcare business. IHH Healthcare Berhad use geographical segment in operating their segment. The group of geographical segment comprised of Singapore, Malaysia, India, Greater China, Brunei, and CEE, Central and Eastern Europe. Segment revenue is based on the geographical location of operations. Meanwhile, segment assets are based on the geographical location of the asset. Next is CODM. What is CODM? CODM is a chief operating decision maker. CODM is a person responsible for making strategic decisions about the entity's segment. That function is to allocate resources to and assess the performance of the operating segment. It can be CEO, COO, CFO, and so on. CODM for IHH Healthcare Berhad are all board members of the company. Their responsibility is to make decisions about resources to be allocated to the segment and to assess its performance, and for which discrete financial information is available. So here is the board members of IHH Healthcare Berhad.
What is the process to identify reportable and non-reportable segments? There is 6 steps to identify it. So here I will explain it one by one. First, identify all operating segments. The identification of operating segments within your company is central to the discussion of segment reporting. An operating segment is a component of your company that A. Engage in business from which it may earn revenues and incur expenses. These revenues and expenses including from transactions with other segments. B. Has its results regularly reviewed by company's chief operating decision maker, which is CODM, and C. Has described financial information available. Segment reporting should provide insight to the public from the perspective of the CODM and will likely draw data from reports that the CODM already use internally. Second, evaluate operating segment for aggregation. Before you look at any quantitative threshold, it may be appropriate to combine multiple operating segments together within the segment disclosure. If 2 or more operating segments have similar economic characteristics and projected trends in financial performance, they may be aggregated together as long as the following elements are also similar. After determining if any segment should be aggregated, it is time to assess the operating segments that you have been identified against the quantitative thresholds. Third, quantitative threshold test, which is 10% test. When your company goes public, you will be required to provide disaggregated information about an operating segment if it meets one of the following quantitative thresholds. If a segment satisfies any of these 3 10% tests, it should be classified as a separately reportable operating segment. This means that you will have to provide disaggregated financial information specific to that segment's operation. Fourth, evaluate operating segment for aggregation again. After you identify your separately reportable operating segments by the quantitative thresholds, you may look at the remaining operating segments. Those did not qualify under any of the 10% tests. This is to see if any are economically similar. This is like the process in step 2, but the requirements are more lenient. Only a majority of the criteria mentioned in step 2 must be met. This makes it easier to qualify for aggregation. The purpose of segment reporting is to help financial statement users understand your company from the perspective of the CODM. So if aggregating multiple segments together still achieve this goal, aggregation would likely be appropriate. However, it is never appropriate to aggregate a segment that did not meet a quantitative threshold with one that did. Fifth, 75% task. According to GAAP requirements, the combined revenues earned by sales to external customers in the separately reportable operating segment must be at least 75% 75% of the total consolidated revenues across all operating segments. If the 75% threshold is not met, you must disclose financial information on additional operating segments, even though they do not satisfy all the criteria explained above, until the 75% bar is met or exceeded. When adding additional segments, you are not required to begin with the next largest segment. Rather, it is up to management's discretion to determine what would be most valuable for investors to know. 6. Aggregate remaining operating segments into all other categories. After you identify all separately reportable operating segments, the information for all other segments is aggregated into an all other category. The only requirement for this all other category is the sources of the revenue should be described as part of the disclosure. This slide shows the 10% threshold test for IHH Healthcare. From the 10% threshold test, there are 4 reportable segments, which are Singapore, Malaysia, India, and Acibadem Holding CEE, while Greater China, PPA Aldous, IMU Health Malaysia, P Life REIT, and others are non-reportable segments. This slide shows the 75% threshold test for IHH Healthcare. After calculation, IHH Healthcare passed the 75% test by 90.95%.
This is the new segmental report of IHH Healthcare Berhad as at 31st December 2020. As a result from the calculation made previously using revenue basis, there will be 4 reportable segments as its stated percentage has exceeded 10% threshold test of combined revenue of all operating segments in IHH Healthcare Berhad. The reportable segments consist of Singapore, Malaysia, India, and Acibadem Holdings, which has 29.8%, 16.32%, 19.81%, and 25.83%. On the other side, Greater China, PPL Others, IMU Health Malaysia, P-Life Free, and Others segment will be comprised as one in all other segments as it fails to meet the 10% threshold test according to the revenue basis.
Based on MFRS8 operating segments, IHH Healthcare could consider its operating segments that do not meet any quantitative thresholds as reportable and separately disclosed if believed the information of this segment could be useful to the users of financial statements.
For now, you have reached to the conclusion part of segment reporting. Therefore, I will explain to you guys the advantages and the disadvantages of segment reporting. For the advantages, first of all, the contexts are improved. This allows the stakeholder to get a better vision on the fluctuations that might affect the overall numbers. It is also designed for investors to get a better understanding on the businesses and the potential cash flow. Secondly, segment reports are transparent. Transparent here means the profit segments are separated. Secondly, segment reports are transparent. Transparent here means the profitable segments are separated. It reveals on which areas or businesses are making a profit and which are draining on the bottom line. Thus, profit making and loss making can be easily identified with the help of segment reporting. Moreover, segment reporting leads itself to data manipulation. This gives the company leaders the opportunity on more discretion in how it determines on how the segment reports are constructed and what metrics are reported. Moving on to the disadvantages, allocation problems might occur when there are common costs needed to be allocated into 2 or more operating segments. Determination on the segment cost can also be an issue. Next, segment reporting also involves cost of disclosure. The provision of additional information along with the routine information will increase the operating costs of the firm.
Now we move to the part B.
Now we start the interim report with a basis of preparation. Basis preparation has 2 methods, which is integral method and discrete method. integral method is when interim report is a fraction of the annual report. The method of value is annual values multiply fraction of the reporting period. Unlike is discrete method, which is interim period is the separate period. Reports are prepared on a period basis. Okay, the basis preparation of the IHH healthcare is using a discrete method, which is the interim period is a separate period. These condensed consolidated financial reports are unaudited and prepared in accordance with the applicable disclosure provision with the main market listing requirement of the Bursa Malaysia Security MFRS 134. They do not include all the information required for the annual full reporting.
There are two types of accounting policies used in preparing interim report for this company. The first one is MFRS 116, Property, Plant and Equipment, PPE. PPE is a tangible item that are held for use in the production or supply of goods and services, for rental to others, for administrative purpose, and are expected to be used during more than one period. Second is MFRS 138, Intangible Assets. Intangible asset is an identifiable non-monetary assets that has no physical substance but are expected to benefit the company for more than 1 year.
Interim financial report for IHH Healthcare is quarterly report.
This is the period for the current and comparative periods of each statement prepared by IHH Healthcare Berhad according to MFRS 134 interim reporting. IHH Healthcare Berhad's accounting period will end on 31st December each year. IHH Healthcare Berhad's current and comparative periods for each statement will be measured from 1st April 2021 until 30 June 2021, which represents the second interim quarter of the company. For IHH Healthcare Berhad's statement of financial position, the current interim reporting period is 6 months, which starts on 1st January 2021 until 30 June 2021, while the comparative statement of financial position of the immediate preceding year-to-date reporting period is 12 months, which starts on 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2020. Next, statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. The current interim reporting period is 3 months, which starts on 1st April 2021 until 30 June 2021. And the cumulative statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the current financial year-to-date reporting period is 6 months, which starts on 1st January 2021 until 30 June 2021. For the comparative statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income of the current interim reporting period is 3 months, which starts on 1st April 2020 until 30 June 2020, while the comparative statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income of the immediate preceding financial year-to-date reporting period is 6 months, which starts on 1st January 2020 until 30 June 2020. Furthermore, statement of cash flow and statement of changes in equity shares the same reporting period and same reporting date. The cumulative for both statements for the current financial year-to-date reporting period is 6 months, which starts on 1st January 2021 until 30 June 2021. For the comparative of both statements of the immediate preceding financial year-to-date reporting period is 6 months, which starts on 1st January 2020 until 30 June 2020. This is how the quarterly reporting period would look like from the first quarter until the fourth quarter.
So before I begin, here is the statement of financial position before the adjustment. Now I'm going to explain to you some few adjustments we have made throughout the analysis for the interim report. The adjustment made were based on inventories and depreciation. So for the first adjustment, we'll be proceed to inventories. So IHH Healthcare Berhad financial year ended on 31st December. It is the company practices to present its quarterly interim financial statements. The price of its inventories keeps on varying each year. As at 31st December 2020, its inventory cost RM540,562 million. The net realizable value of the inventories is RM420153 million. On 30th of June 2021, the cost of inventory is RM435650 million, and the expected net realizable value of the inventories at 30th of June 2021 is RM446283 million. According to the MFRS 102, the value of inventories will be recognized at whichever is lower between the cost and the net realizable value. I have made the comparison between the cost and net realizable value of the inventories on 30th of June 2021 and the 31st December of 2020. For the second adjustment, it will be depreciation. So as we can see here, this adjustment will affect the statement of profit or loss as at 30th of June 2021 on the second quarter, where the depreciation recognized will be amounted to 875,000 ringgit Malaysia. So as you can see on the presentation, this is the statement of financial position after the adjustment has been made. Based on both adjustments, for depreciation, it will only affect the second quarter, which is on 30th of June 2021. So the value of property, plant and equipment will be 27,982,880 million ringgit Malaysia. And for the second adjustment, which is inventory, the amount that is affected is based on both quarter, which is on 30th of June 2021 and 31st December of 2020, where the amount are RM435650 million and RM420153 million.
Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.